So in the last class we have discussed all the PYQs. So in this class we'll be discussing all the disasters. So in these disasters, like the UPSC has asked the questions, we'll discuss what are the causes, what are the effects or consequences. Now solution, you can call it solution, you can call it remedy, or any guidelines by NDMA, guidelines, NDMA, or any body which has been specifically allocated to this disaster, or any specific body. And what is the international framework? International framework. Okay. So I don't think they'll be asking questions beyond this. Okay, so I have compiled all this material. I'll be sending it to you. I don't think in the market you'll be finding such kind of material, okay, which has exam oriented, exam focused. See, you might be thinking that, sir, earthquakes in disaster management, for that you have given a lot of material. But again, you understand, see, on an average, in the last class we have seen, on an average, 25 marks have been asked. Anyways, these are not altogether new. You must have studied society, okay, a little bit of governance, geography. So I'm compiling the things from there and putting it one place so that it will suit the demand of the subject, which is the disaster management. Okay, so it will not be that difficult. Okay, it will be easy only. Don't think that for every topic the material is too much. But again, if you read this, your entire disaster management, okay, can be answered, and you'll be getting very good marks in this. You'll have confidence. Okay, for 60 to 70 marks, say, okay, the paper on history, you'll be reading this much amount of content. Okay, and there is no guarantee that from there the questions will come. I'm telling you that pinpointedly from here only the questions will come. That's why, okay, have confidence, okay, in this material. Not only for this subject, for any subject. So whatever material you're having, you should be having 100% confidence in that. So then only your mind will be mentally prepared to remember them. See, if you're not having confidence in the material which you're reading, your mind will also not accept. It will also not remember. And out of this, you can also make the short notes. And then, okay, by heart those things, mug up those things, and what is the criteria on which the questions will be asked. So you can go and directly vomit in the examinations. So the job will become very easy. So here we'll be taking a lot of time. Then after this, we'll do disaster management cycle. Okay, and then, okay, loss frameworks. If at all anything new is there. But again, here itself, okay, we'll be doing guidelines, okay, and framework here itself. For every disaster we'll be doing. So basically here, your burden will be reduced. And here also, for the first few disasters, I'll be covering in detail. And later on, for the rest of the disasters, almost the things will get repeated. It will kind of, become generic. Okay? Understood? So don't think that this material is too much. Anyways, lot of insights will be getting from here. Don't worry. Now see, okay, now understand the seismicity of India. So this is the earthquake zonation map of India, which has been prepared by NDMA. Sir. Hello? Hello?
So आप जो भी screen पे लिख रहे हो ना, again it is not visible on the big screen. So, either sir you need to stop sharing.
Okay.
हाँ sir, stop share करके उसी पे लिख दीजिए.
Okay.
Right sir, and I have muted you, तो आप unmute भी कर लेना sir.
Okay. So if you're having any doubts, okay, you can please, you can drop your doubts in the inbox. I'll keep looking in between. So I may not immediately look at your doubts, but in between, so here, okay, Renu is saying that, you are in the first class, so don't worry. Okay, in the previous class, we have discussed the previous year questions. So I don't think, you'll have much difficulty in understanding. So technically, this will be the first class only. Okay. So if at all you have any doubts, you can, post there. I will keep looking. So this is the earthquake zonation map of India. Okay, so from geography, you must have read that why there's some things in zone 5, there is zone 4, zone 3 and zone 2. So earlier there was also zone 1, but the zone 1 has been removed because the zone 1 was earlier considered to be a region without any earthquake. But India has witnessed earthquakes in zone 1 as well. That's why afterwards they have changed the nomenclature and they have converted into 4 zones instead of 5 zones. Now 57%, okay, 57 to 59% of total geographical area of India is affected by the earthquakes. And if you see the stats here, so 95% of 304 million households are vulnerable to the earthquakes. And if you see in zone 5, which is a very high risk zone, so 11% of India, and in zone 4, 18% of India, and in zone 3, it is 30% of India. So this much, okay, percentage of the population, okay, lives in the earthquake zone prone areas. Now why, okay, this is in the zone 5, all these regions. Okay, so anyways, you must have come across this in geography, but again I'll tell you. So this is the part of the middle Himalayas. So the Himalayas have various ranges: the greater Himalayas, middle Himalayas, lesser Himalayas. So the middle Himalayas, okay, in fact the lesser Himalayas, that is Shivaliks, is not true Himalayas. So the middle Himalayas are true Himalayas because they have the structural folds. So the middle Himalayas are being excessively compressed. In fact, the middle Himalayas, okay, is not just like this. Okay, because of the excessive compression from one side, okay, there are numerous overturned folds, recumbent folds. If you are getting this nomenclature, fine, or else you can leave it. So basically understand this. So basically it is overturned. It is not stable. That's why any little bit of disturbance which happens below will shake these middle Himalayas too much. Okay, and whenever there is excessive compression, there are a lot of faults. Numerous faults are there. I am not using the exact language of geography here. I am using very laymanish language. Okay, so numerous faults means cracks. There are so many cracks are there. Okay, and it is overturned. That's why the ground which is underneath, if it is shaking even little bit, it will cause a lot of disturbance here. Okay, then you have the northeastern Himalayas. So the Indian Peninsular Plateau is turning in the anti-clockwise direction and all the forces are acting here. So there is a lot of compression here. There is a lot of stress which is generated here. So earlier it was moving like this, India. After movement, it is compressing like this. So this is like a door hinge action. So that's why here, okay, it is prone to a lot of earthquakes. That's why it is zone 5. And here, Bhuj region. So this is a recent fault which has been created. So which is called as Allahabad fault. Now, why it is named as Allahabad, because there was a sudden shift in the land. Means the land has become up and down. A part of the land, has broken, means a fault has been created, it has become up and down. And because of that, a dam kind of structure, so Hindi mein isko bolte hai bandh. Dam means bandh. A bandh or dam kind of structure has been created. And when you don't know the scientific reason, you attribute it to religion. So that's why Allah Bandh. So they believe in Allah, Allah Bandh. Like that. And northern part of Bihar, here there are numerous local faults. So that's the reason why. So these are in zone 5. Next, the rest of the Himalayas are in zone 4. Because the Himalayas are made up of the sedimentary rocks of marine origin. So these are nothing but sediments which have been plastered together. So it is not hard igneous rock. It is a loose rock which has been cemented together. Obviously, it will not be as strong as the previous rock. For example, I have a cup or a saucer. It is intact. I will throw it down. It will be broken. Now, the broken piece of the glass, saucer or cup, if I am pasting together, will it be that strong as the previous rock? No. So, with such kind of rocks, sedimentary rocks or sediments, the Himalayas are made up of. That's why. And part of the northern Indian plains, including the Delhi NCR region, also is in the zone 4 because you have the Himalayas and beside the Himalayas, you have this soil which is very loose. So whenever this rock shakes, the soil which is beside that will also shake. So that's why it is in zone 4. Next, you see the region in yellow, which is in zone 3. It is because partly it is in northern Indian plains. Also, you have the rivers flowing, and the rivers in the peninsular plateau are either flowing in the cracks or joints. Because the peninsular plateau is made up of very hard rocks. It's either batholith or granitic gneissic rocks, means very hard rocks. And these hard rocks, if you have a very large hard rock over a period of time, like over 2 billion years or 3 billion years, of course it will generate break because these rocks are not static. They keep on moving. So when they move, obviously some break will happen in between. So in these breaks, the rivers started flowing because the rivers cannot cut the granite and create their own path. So they have to flow in the already present cracks and joints. So that's why you can blindly say that wherever you have a river, along that you'll be having the fault and it will be kept in zone 3. So here we have Damodar River, Mahanadi River, Krishna, Godavari, and entire Western Ghats is a fault, Narmada, Tapi, Mahi, Sabarmati. So this way you can remember very easily. So if at all there is a question on this, you should be drawing this map also. This map is very easy to remember. I told you all the logics, all the reasons behind it, and there should not be any reason to forget, So let's continue further, So this thing I have explained. So all these zones I have explained, which is in zone 4, zone 3, zone 2, etc. Now, there is something called as seismic microzonation also. See, for the regions which have very high population density, say for example Delhi NCR, or the cities like Hyderabad, Bangalore, Ahmedabad, Calcutta, Madras. So these are some of the very important cities. You have very high population density. There is a lot of, these are financial, they're also very important for the running the economy of the country. So that's why even these regions should be having microzonation. So microzonation means, which part of the city is more vulnerable, which part of the city is less vulnerable. So microzonation, is under process. So they can ask a question based on micro zonation as well, but again it is very rare. Simply know some of the members here. See, don't have to mug up all the information. So whenever I'm teaching you something, okay, don't just sit passively. You keep on making the running notes as well. Okay, so when you make the notes, you'll be attentive, you'll be listening to the class, and you'll also get to know what exactly, okay, has to be taken from this. Of course, here I'll be providing all the information. More than 50% of the information you don't have to reproduce in the examination. Okay, just okay, you have to remember whatever I emphasize in the class. So they can ask a question here. So as a part of a bigger question, they can ask a smaller question. What is the status of microzonation? Microzonation. So this can be part of a bigger question. Means in a bigger question they'll be asking, okay, 2 or 3 topics. In that, okay, they can ask it as a smaller section. Okay, what if they are not asking? What if they don't ask microzonation? So say you have read this information, so you have put a lot of efforts in mugging up these things, but you feel that, damn, this question is not asked, I have put a lot of efforts. What will you do? So somehow, okay, if you want to use this information, then you can use this information, the remedies and solutions you have. So in the solution, you can mention that, okay, if they're emphasizing on good practices, say that, okay, some of the cities have undergone microzonation. Okay, say, okay, if not much is done here, if the question is about critically examine, then you can change the information to, so not much of microzonation has been done, only for the few cities it has been done. So based on the demand of the question, you can use this information. Okay. So this is the status of microzonation in India. So for Jabalpur, okay, it has been completed. For Guwahati, it has been completed. For Chennai, only first level microzonation has been done. Just remember 2-3 cities over here. So Bangalore, okay. So it is completed, okay, for only 220 square kilometer area. So these are ongoing microzonation studies. So Chennai, Coimbatore, Bhubaneswar, Mangalore, as per as recent reports. And leave some space here, okay. Since, okay, your preparation will not end this year or next year, it will continue for, say, next 2-3 years, okay. Before that, if you crack the examination, it's very good. But leave some information, leave some, okay, space over here, and you please, okay, add the information, whatever comes in the newspaper, okay. And I'm telling you again, this should be your master copy. And whatever information you come across in the newspaper should be added here only. So that every time you should be looking at this notes itself. See, again, I'm telling you, reading multiple books, okay, will not help you crack this examination. You have to read the same book again and again 100 times. So then only you will qualify the examination. Okay, because ultimately you have to reproduce 5,000 words in the mains examination. Okay, so if you have to reproduce those 5,000 quality words, okay, for reproducing you have to remember. Okay, for remembering you have to rehearse many times. So more number of times you rehearse, remember, okay, then only you'll be able to reproduce in the examination. Understood? Okay, that's why make this your master copy. Okay, so okay, I'll be sending you this Word file only, so that you can make changes according to yourself and leave some space over here. So wherever you feel or I feel, okay, that, okay, here in future, okay, the current affairs can be accommodated, okay, you do that. So I will not be just, teaching you this, I'll be giving you a lot of tips for the examination. Because I myself, okay, I have written 6 mains examination and I have appeared for 3 personal interviews as well. Okay, but again, okay, because at the later stages I got less marks in the interview, I could not qualify. So that's why I have seen a lot of failures. So from that failures, okay, I'll be able to teach a lot of things. And if you follow these small tricks and techniques, this examination is very easy to crack. Okay, again, which department is responsible here? Ministry of Earth Sciences. Now, let's look at some of the case studies here. Because previously, if you have seen the questions, they have been asking. So, mention some of the earthquakes which happened in last 2 decades, or they'll be asking, give 2 examples, like that. So that's why we'll be doing few case studies. So through these case studies only, we'll understand what has been done, what has to be done. Means you'll also understand what are the causes, what has been the consequences, and what should be the solution. So you'll understand all these things. Now look at here, this earthquake has happened 1991. So I hope, do you guys have an idea what is this magnitude and all? Magnitude epicenter, who is online here? Renu, you have any idea what is this epicenter? Okay, good, Renu. Yes. See, are you able to understand everything, Renu? If anyone else is there online, please respond, because I want this class to be interactive. Please reply. Okay, I'm not asking you what is epicenter. Okay, whatever I have taught till now, are you able to understand everything? Okay, good. I'm a fast, slow, what? Pace is good. Okay, fine. Now let's see. Look at the magnitude here. So magnitude is 6.8. But again, at that time, it is 6.6 according to some sources, because during that time, no state-of-the-art infrastructure or equipments were there. But again, it will vary. But remember, the rough figure over here, and it happened in Uttarakhand. You may not remember Pilang and all, but if you look here, again, this also happened in the Middle Himalayas part. So just now I told you, the Middle Himalayas are excessively folded, they have a lot of structural faults, they have been overturned. So that's why they'll be prone to earthquakes. Now why I'm showing these pictures, because over a period of time you will see in these pictures that the buildings have been evolving, the construction has been evolving. So I cannot really say it is evolving or it is deteriorating, but again, so we have a certain idea. We have been told that there is a certain idea of development. For many people, the glass structures, big concrete structures is an idea of development. Now people say that Gurgaon, this Noida has been highly developed, but what people are doing there, coughing, right? So is that really development? But again, you see, there's a certain profile in which you'll see the buildings. So 1991, what else can you expect there? Means there were not many multi-story buildings, there were only few. But they were in dilapidated conditions. The construction was not that great. That's why you'll see a lot of collapse. Camera view using the major. What you're saying, Renu? Camera view using the major area. The camera is unable to cover the entire board? Is it so? I think it is covering the entire board. So this is the epicenter. So again, it is in the middle Himalayas. Now see, death toll. So death toll, you will always see a difference. Official death toll will be different, and the, according to NGOs, according to civil society organizations, according to people over there, again the death toll will be different. So can anyone tell me why there is such kind of huge difference? So you want me to cover the entire board? Okay, fine. So can you tell me, why there's a difference between the official death estimates and the other one? You can do in the comment section. So this is injury affected population. Again, you don't have to remember these exact numbers. So if you want to remember this, remember any 2 or 3 case studies and take an approximate figure, rough figure. And whenever you're writing the figures in the examination, mention around, or approximately. Never give the exact figure. Because for this examination, you have to remember around 400 to 500 figures, facts and figures you have to remember. It's humanly impossible to remember all these facts and figures. So that's why, so whenever you're writing a figure in the examination, always write around, Now let's see the infrastructure damage here. So houses and all you may not remember. If at all you want to remember any figure here, remember the death toll and injury, that's it, Also remember this affected population. So rest you can ignore. Again here these things are important, it happened in MCT, Main Central Thrust. So focal depth 12 kilometers. So any earthquake which is happening within the zone of 70 kilometers, so will come under shallow focus earthquake, and anything which is 300 kilometers, it will come under intermediate focus earthquake, and 300 to 700 will be called as the deep focus earthquake. So these are the 3 types of earthquakes. And can you tell me, you guys have read a lot of geography, can you tell me, of these 3, which earthquake is most dangerous? Shallow focus earthquake, intermediate focus earthquake, or deep focus earthquake? Which is more deadly? Can you tell me? Shallow focus. Renu, why? So this is not a state board examination where you just have to tell me the fact. You have to tell me the reason. This is UPSC. Reasons are more important. Tell me why shallow focus earthquakes are more dangerous. If I'm telling you one thing, will you agree with me? Sometimes the energy released in the deep focus earthquakes, in fact, most often, the energy which is released in the deep focus earthquake is much higher than the energy which is released here within the 70 kilometer depth. But why still shallow focus earthquake is more deadly? I'll tell you. Because, though the amount of the energy which is released here is high, but it has to travel all across 700 kilometers. So it will fade away. But the shallow focus earthquakes, the energy is released just below the crust. So the distance decay, the energy loss will be very less. That's why these are more deadly. Renu, so whatever you have answered there, it's fine. But again, you need to use the technical words. Since you have studied geography, little bit of technicality you have to use. So whatever you conveyed is fine. So this is about the focal depth. Again, disaster management point of view, you may not know. This is not important. Again, MCT. What is this MCT? Main Central Thrust. So this is the Great Himalayas, this is the Middle Himalayas, and this is again the Shivaliks. Okay. So the MCT is located between the Great Himalayas and the Middle Himalayas. It is a faulting zone. Okay. So whenever you have a fault, that will be more prone to the earthquakes. Okay. Now again here you will see, okay, aftershocks were also recorded. So what are these aftershocks? See, once the earthquake happens, okay, a lot of soil and rocks will be disturbed. So after they are disturbed, it will take time to settle these rocks and all debris. That's why after the earthquake also there will be aftershock. So this is where the rocks, the debris, the buildings, the rubble which has fallen, okay, it will be settling. So right after the earthquake, which is right after the surface waves also, you'll be having some aftershocks. Okay. So what happens because of this, we'll see later. Okay. So again, okay, rest of the things, okay, are not that important. Okay, these are all the affected areas. Now, what is the government response? See, we'll see an evolution here, how the disaster management in India has been evolving over a period of time. Now, immediate response, okay, whenever, okay, there is an earthquake or any kind of disaster, so the government has to come to the rescue of the people. Now, why Ministry of Agriculture in 1991? Why it is responsible? Can anyone tell? Can anyone guess? Why Ministry of Agriculture? Nobody? Okay, see, the Ministry of Agriculture is responsible because, see, during the Britishers' time, means in the beginning, they never, okay, recognized, any kind of disaster, right? Because people used to think that, okay, these are all natural events and तुम्हारा कर्म है, जब earthquake आएगा, cyclone आएगा, okay, you will die. That's your karma. Okay, such kind of philosophy people used to believe in during those times. Even now, many people believe in that. See, but later on, so what was the major source of income for the government during that time? Because at the time, industry was not there. Even the tertiary sector was also not there. So the major source of income is agriculture, agricultural produce. Now, if there is a drought, obviously the farmers will be affected. And when the farmers are affected, it will become very difficult for the government to get revenue or extract taxes out of them. So that's why the government has to do something for the farmers, or else the government has to show that it is doing something for the farmers. So that's why the Ministry of Agriculture was made the nodal head. But unfortunately, even after the independence, the Ministry of Agriculture continued to play a major role in the disasters until very recently. So that's why the Ministry of Agriculture. But again, it won't be able to do all the rescue and relief operations. Now see, these are under Ministry of Home Affairs, and this is the Ministry of Agriculture. Now if you see the structure of the government, you have the Cabinet Secretary. So Cabinet Secretary is the Secretary of Secretary. So under him, all the ministries and departments will be there. So under him, you will also have Ministry of Defense, Ministry of Finance. You have the Secretary of Agriculture also, Secretary of Home also. Now, how come the Secretary of Agriculture can ask help from the Secretary of Home? They're of same cadres, they'll be having ego clashes. So it has to go through a route. So the Ministry of Agriculture, okay, or the Secretary of Agriculture has to request the Cabinet Secretary, and the Cabinet Secretary will be going and requesting sending a circular to the Home Ministry Secretary. Now, don't you think it is a tedious job, right? Because at the time of later on, these things will be used, in suggesting the remedies in the institutional structure. That's why through examples I'm explaining you. So that's why later on we'll be suggesting that, the responsibility of disaster management should be with the Cabinet Secretary, or it should be directly under the PMO. PMO is not a right word, because PMO, the Prime Minister Office, right now it is very powerful because you have a strong Prime Minister. But there may be times the Prime Minister may become weak. If there is a coalition government, if the parties which are sharing the power, if they have equal political clout, then the Prime Minister may not be that powerful as it is today. That's why ideally it should be under the Cabinet Secretary. Anyways, over the Cabinet Secretary, the PM will be there. So PMO, Prime Minister's Office, is a subsidiary office. In fact, during the Nehruvian times, the Nehru was, he had a very big stature. So during the Nehruvian times, the Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru, he deliberately has reduced the office of the PMO. He told that, bhaiya, I'm already both powerful, mera both stature hai. Don't worry, make the Prime Minister office very small. It was a single room, small room in the North Block. It was not as big. But later on, as in when the Prime Ministers have become powerful, so a lot of decisions are being made from the PMO itself. That's why the office, whenever the strong Prime Ministers have come, so it has become bigger and bigger. And the role of the Cabinet, is reducing. So this is part of the governance which we'll be using in disaster management as well. So you guys are familiar with these things? The people who are online? Ragini, Reenu. These things, Oh, you guys are smart, you know everything. So if you know something, then please let me know, because I am thinking that I should be teaching everything so that they'll be useful later. Because since we are new to each other, once I get to know what you are, later on I can also reduce the kind of things I'll be teaching you. Now, relief operations were hampered significantly. Again, remember this, whenever you'll be having mountainous terrain, when you'll be having undulated topography, up and downs will be there. So relief operations will become very difficult because proper roads will not be there. So even if any road is there, the road will be broken. It will be collapsed because of the earthquakes. The roads will be blocked and the communication infrastructure will also be collapsed. Now let's see, what are the major gaps which have been identified? So there was a delay because of the blocked roads. So no disaster management framework, because the Disaster Management Act was drafted in 2005. Now why 2005? Why not before that? Can anyone tell me? Why not before this? Why after 2005? Very good. Sandeep is saying 2004 tsunami. Good. So what you have to remember here? In India, everything happens after disaster. So some big disaster happens, after that we wake up and we realize that, something has to be made. Okay, remember this. So that's why it is Disaster Management Act 2005. And limited coordination among the responding agencies. See, say Ministry of Health is also there here. Okay. See, Ministry of Finance, okay, will be providing the money. So Ministry of Home will be sending all the paramilitary forces. You say now, okay, whenever any disaster comes, you put a status on the WhatsApp saying that, salute army. That is not actually army. It's a paramilitary force which comes. Later on, I'll explain why paramilitary, why not, okay, your army comes there. Okay, so you have the, okay, Agriculture Ministry is not relevant nowadays. Okay, you have the Ministry of Health also. So all these ministries are involved. When all these ministries are involved, and if the Ministry of Agriculture is the nodal agency, do you think it will be able to coordinate with all this? By, in bureaucracy, the people have a lot of egos. Once you guys also, okay, hope that, you guys should not become like that. But once, become a district collector or thinking, you'll be having the ivory tower approach. You'll think that, my BAP, I am my Sarkar. Okay, everything is under me. I will not listen to anyone. So such kind of attitude, okay, the people develop. Okay, and for them, okay, like for most of them, okay, it doesn't matter whether the people are dying or what is happening to them. Okay, ego comes first to them. That's why, okay, there is no enough coordination among these agencies. So that's why limited coordination. Again, what is the solution for this? So through problems only we have to search for a solution. Now tell me, who is online here? What is the solution for this? If you put your camera on, that would be great. Shekaran, Ankit, show me your face. Renu beta, batao. Solution क्या है इसका? Framework आपके सामने है. Renu, okay, looking at you, understand that. I hope that you know Hindi. That's why I'm speaking in Hindi. What's the solution for that? Thinking is very important. See, you might be right or wrong. Appreciate, okay, even if you're giving me a wrong answer, okay, I'll not say anything. I appreciate that.
Students can unmute themselves.
See, the solution is right in front of you. See, if all these people have to coordinate with each other, so to whom they will listen to? Cabinet Secretary, right? So that's why at the Cabinet Secretary level, okay, you have to make an arrangement, okay, and this should be the nodal ministry. Okay? So Cabinet Secretary should become a nodal bureaucrat for coordinating all these agencies. Here, who is there? Ministry of Agriculture. Understood? So from problems, we have to search for a solution. Okay. Next, inadequate emergency medical facilities, because hardly any kind of medical facility was existing there in that remote area. It was those times, okay, like now you have, okay, a compulsory requirement that, okay, should have primary healthcare center everywhere and all. At that time, not much. Of course, poor building standards and all. It's like in 20-30 years ago, when the incomes were not that high, so the building standard, okay, there were a lot of kacha houses and all. That's why, okay, they will collapse very easily whenever a disaster strikes or earthquake comes. Okay, so whatever solutions I'm telling, keep writing. Okay, so later on we'll accumulate all this, but again, okay, let your mind keep on functioning. Next is Latur earthquake. So this happened in 1993 and magnitude 6.2, 6.3. Now if you look at the location of the Latur, See, again, I'm shortcut, I don't know, okay, what shortcut has been told to you by the sir. So this is a shortcut I use for drawing the India map. You don't have to take much efforts. See, if you don't know anything, just, okay, draw a triangle. If you feel that it is difficult for you, make a triangle, okay. If you want to enhance it a bit, okay, make a triangle and make this curve and draw 2 lines for drawing India map. Don't get scared of drawing the map in the examination. Second method. Third, okay, this is plus, this is pro. Then if you want to enhance further, make this mouth kind of a thing, draw a straight line, okay, make this curve again. So this becomes pro map. And to provide authenticity, draw a triangle below. Okay. So this is how we can draw the maps in a very easy manner. Okay. And this itself is sufficient enough. Any location you want to show, you can show it here. Now you look here, where is Latur located? Latur is located somewhere in the middle here. The Latur was actually in zone 1 of earthquakes. Means zone 1 means it should be the most safest zone. And where you have the fault lines, this is where the plate boundary is, Himalayas. So this is the plate boundary. And what you have read in geography, according to plate tectonics theory, the earthquakes happen at the plate boundary. They are highly affected. And rest of the zones, okay, are hardly affected because they are made up of granitic gneissic rocks, or strong, okay, basement rocks, like that, something like that you must have studied earlier. But when there was an earthquake in Latur, the people were surprised. So that is when, okay, after realizing this, they have merged the zone 2 and zone 1. Again, can anyone tell me why, okay, we had an earthquake in Latur, which is, okay, almost a stable rock? Why we had an earthquake there? Yes, anyone? Only two. अंकित बेटा आप भी बोलो. No idea? See, just now, okay, like 15-20 minutes ago I told you, say you have a very big rock. See, the Indian Peninsular Plateau is a very big rock. It is moving. It is moving and hitting the Eurasian plate over there. So when a very big rock moves over a period of time, don't you think it can develop cracks and joints? So here you have some local faults over here. So here, okay, you have two faults. So one is the Koyna fault, other is the Kurduvadi fault. So this Kurduvadi fault is running into Maharashtra. Okay, it ends somewhere near Sholapur. So Sholapur and Latur are nearby. Okay, so that's the reason why, okay, it has some local faults over there. So that's the reason why, okay, the earthquake has been developed over there. Okay, and we haven't explored where all these kind of local faults and fissures are there. That's why we cannot tell that some area, okay, in India is completely free from earthquakes. Of course, you can guess the vulnerability. Of course, you can say that this is more vulnerable, this is less vulnerable. But you never know which fault can be activated at what time. Because we exactly don't know what is happening in the interiors of the earth. Because we are unable to objectively study the interiors of the earth till now. You don't have to remember, okay, the village and all. Latur district, you remember, it is more than enough. So magnitude is 6.2, 6.3. So look, okay, look at the okay, I won't say buildings, houses and all. Again, all dilapidated structures. So this Latur is part of your Marathwada region. This Marathwada region is a dry region. So agriculture is not that great because it is on the leeward side of the Western Ghats. So that's why the economic capacity is also very low. So why I'm talking about economic capacity? Because when you have good economic capacity, obviously you'll be building a good house with good reinforcement, with concrete structure, with pillars and beams, and your structure will become more resilient. If you don't have much money, obviously you'll be building such kind of dilapidated structures which will collapse very easily when the earthquake comes. Okay. For death toll and all, okay, so approximately around 10,000. This is official. Injured is this much. So here the population density was a bit higher. Okay. In the last earthquake you have seen, the deaths were comparatively low because the hilly region is less densely populated. Here it is more densely populated. And the deaths also happen in Karnataka because Karnataka is not very far here. So just remember these figures, okay? This figure you remember, okay? Injured also remember, rest you can ignore. Okay. So this happened a full moon night, okay? Not required, okay? So intraplate earthquake in a stable peninsula, consider the deadliest earthquake in the stable continental crust. So people thought that it's very stable, but again, it is, even this region had earthquakes. Now again, hypocenter is shallow, okay, which is around 10 kilometer. Again, shallow earthquakes only become the deadliest earthquakes. And aftershocks also cause a lot of damage. Now if you look at the structure over here, the earthquake might have happened. Say it might have shaken the buildings. The building will be developing cracks. Now earthquake is over, earthquake is gone. Now you have a building in which the cracks have developed, okay, and these cracks again will try to settle down. So when they try to settle down, again they will collapse. And obviously the chaos which will be caused by the people is also very high. They'll be running here and there because they don't have proper training. They don't know what to do when the earthquake happens, and they did not even expect that earthquake happens. They might not even know what earthquake is, because at the time the education levels are also very less. And since from very long time they might not have heard that earthquake can happen in their area. At least people in the Himalayas must have heard that an earthquake will happen, or at least they know that landslides will happen. But here they could not have never guessed. Even the government could not guess. So smoke drills, they don't know what to do at the time of earthquake, where to go, where to hide. And the government also must not have developed any such kind of water shelters or anything. So, these things are very important. All the livestock, see, whenever any disaster happens, remember the livestock is also very important. It is not just about the people, livestock also. Because 50% of the people in India are directly dependent upon the agriculture. And agriculture in India is still primitive. So that's why they are dependent upon the livestock. So they lose the livestock, they'll be losing the livelihood. So in rehabilitation and resettlement, see, the livestock will play a very important role. We should not be just counting for the loss of life, but also livestock also we should consider. And after that you see rainy weather. So rainy weather will lead to a lot of structural vulnerability. Now what is the government response? So government has sent all the military and the paramilitary forces, because at that time we did not have the Disaster Management Act. So many trucks have come with a lot of relief materials. And see, these things now will not be just helpful to you disaster management. This will also be helpful to you in the ethics, because in the ethics you'll be having case studies. That you are a district collector. A flood has come in your area. What kind of things you'll mobilize? Suddenly the contractor told you that the price of the umbrellas, so the price of the boats has become very high. But immediately you have to procure them. If you buy them, it will just cost you 100 rupees per umbrella. But for renting an umbrella, it will cost you 1,000 rupees. So when I'm saying these things, are you coming across anything which is recently in the news, yesterday and day before? Buying is costing you less, but renting is costing you more. Are you guys reading newspapers? Can you recall anything, remember anything from yesterday or day before yesterday's newspaper? How many people are Karnataka? Anyone from Karnataka here? Or staying in Karnataka? No one? So where are you from, Sandeep? Ritu, where are you from? Okay, Sandeep is from Andhra Pradesh. Which part of? Say, I'm a geographer. That's why I have interest. Okay, in knowing where you people are from, because if something is happening in your area, okay, then I can give examples from there. So you can strike a chord with the current events and all. East Godavari. And Renu, where are you from? Oh, Bengal से हो. अंकित बेटा आप तो बात ही नहीं करते, छोड़ो. So recently must have come across that, okay, in Bangalore city, they have procured the trucks, they have rented the trucks for cleaning the roads, for removing the dust from the roads. So renting is costing more, okay, than the procurement of the incidents. If you buy a truck, it will be costing less. And such kind of incidents always happen at the time of the disaster. So the people who are responsible for disaster management, okay, sometimes they rent a boat which will be costing more than a boat. And I will tell you the umbrellas. They have rented the umbrellas for 1,000 rupees per day, but buying an umbrella would have costed them 100 rupees. So such kind of corruption happens. In fact, during, when I was preparing for the interview, a decade ago, during that time, we were asked to read a book. P. Sainath, P. Sainath is a renowned, we can call him a journalist, not like the journalists who are there today. That's why I'm saying you can call him a journalist. So he wrote a book called as Everybody Loves a Good Drought. Everybody means politicians, the civil servants. Whenever the drought comes, they love the drought. So before going to the interview, we were suggested to read such kind of books. But nowadays the atmosphere is such that, people will not be telling you read such kind of books, So people will be telling you that, you always have to go with a positive mindset. Be positive, don't think negative and all. They'll be telling us, times have changed. So I'm telling you some examples here. So in ethics also we'll be coming across such kind of case studies. Are you guys done with the ethics? Have you come across any such case studies? No, ethics haven't done, or you haven't come across case studies? Answer specifically. When you go to the interview also, you have to be very specific to the question which has been asked. If the examiner is asking, if the interviewer is asking 2 questions, ethics not done, no problem. So such kind of case studies will come, that's why be aware. Now, medical assistance, so railway hospital was far away with the first responder, and NGO involvement was also there. Now why, what is the role of NGOs, non-governmental organizations? Because you already have a government, right? The government will take care of everything. The government has all the machinery. But despite having the presence of the government, why we still need the NGOs? They're called as non-governmental organizations for a reason. Of course, earlier the NGOs used to have a lot of importance. Nowadays there has been a lot of crackdown on the NGOs. They're not getting much funding. That's why, in the newspapers and elsewhere, you'll not see much role of NGOs. Tell me, Reenu and Sandeep. What is the role of NGOs? Partially you have, she told that people participating, in NGOs, people, see, NGOs are, just like a government organization, but it is non-governmental. So peoples are not everybody in that area is part of the NGO. Okay, so that would be factually wrong statement. Bring resources from others. You say, okay, this is a good point. Say, okay, the government is unable to come up, okay, pool in all the resources. The NGOs will also pool in the resources. But again, let me tell you, maximum fund for the NGOs come from the government. This is one more fact. Okay. Next, groundwork. What do you mean by groundwork, Renu? So let me tell you why. For example, you are going to a Naxal hit area. In a Naxal hit area, say in remote parts of the Chhattisgarh, do you think they will trust any government agencies or they will trust any police wala? Will they? They'll not have trust. So, if you want to build a trust, okay, if you want to work along with the people, okay, then NGOs will be acting as a bridge between the people and the government. So NGOs have been working over there for a very long time. They develop a rapport with the people, okay. So a trust has been developed. So that's why the government often funds the NGOs and government often uses the NGOs at the time, okay. And moreover, okay, not nowadays, but earlier the people who were involved in the NGOs, they always have this attitude of doing the service. Okay. So that's why the NGOs are involved. Now, what are the gaps? Obviously, lack of earthquake resistance construction, right? No, delay in the reach in the remote areas, and during those times, all the roads were not there, so that's why, okay, delayed. Then inadequate pre-disaster management because it's a non-traditional seismic zone. And post-disaster innovation. So later on, okay, a lot of innovations have been done because it was not expected that the earthquake will happen in Latur. Okay, and later on after this, it led to the revision of the seismic zones, merging zone 1 and zone 2. So next is Bhuj earthquake 2001. So this is the epicenter. So the magnitude is 7.7. Again, this earthquake is not part of the traditional earthquake prone regions because in this region you have a fault called as the Allah Band fault. So this fault has been created in the year 1811 and it's a recent fault. So whenever the Indian peninsular plateau is moving, is going and hitting there, obviously there will be some impulses which will be coming and acting here. So that's why this region is also affected, right? Now you see, okay, a little bit of evolution here. So here you see a lot of multi-story buildings, but time period has been changing. But again, okay, these are all in dilapidated condition. Again, Allahabad fault is a recent fault. It has been recorded also. So, okay, the people knew that it's a zone 5. So they should have taken enough care before a disaster comes. But again, as it is, and there's a famous saying in disaster management in India, before and after a disaster, nothing happens in India with respect to disaster management. So this thing has been told by a lot of people on the media. So despite knowing that it's in zone 5, now look at the death toll here. So it's around 20,000 to, you can remember the figure 20,000. And injuries you can see, the millions of people have been displaced. So all these figures you can go through. Now what are the salient features? It happened, okay, on the Republic Day. So a lot of school children also have died, okay, in this because, so all the school children, because of the Republic Day, they went to the school, okay, they were in the prayer, 8:46 a.m. time. At the time the earthquake has happened, okay, within the school building, they died and all. So when I was a child, okay, I remember these things, horrific incidents, because at that time I was also going to school. So these things have been told to me that, okay, from that time I never went to assembly. Okay. So one of the India's most destructive earthquakes in the 21st century. Okay. And this region has been already affected by the drought, okay, and cyclone. So already it was under pressure. Over that the earthquake has come. The economic losses are also massive over here. The government responses, obviously, okay, the lot of paramilitary and military people will be coming. Okay, you don't have to remember all this. Just remember one thing over here: military and paramilitary forces are mobilized. Here again, you see in the last case you don't have so much of mobilization, and here you see a lot of mobilization. 4 ships also have come. Coast Guard also has come. Okay, 10 CSF companies are also deployed. International rescue teams from Britain, America, other teams are also come. Why? In this why only, there's a problem also, you can give a solution also. Can you guess why? Why so much of mobilization? Even, okay, like if earthquake happens now also, say the earthquake is happening in Telangana today, in Hyderabad. Will you see such kind of mobilization? I'll tell you why. Because 2001. So here, who is at the power, or which party is at the power at a central level, and which party is at the power at the state level, that also matters. Because there have been cases that, okay, after the disaster has stricken, the center will be promising a lot of money, but that money hardly comes. Okay, even now, okay, 2015 Kashmir floods, even till now after a decade that money hasn't been dispersed. It has been very long time. So that also plays a very important role. Okay, so that's why, okay, whenever a disaster strikes, the funds has to be made compulsory, irrespective of, okay, who is in power at what level. Okay, some changes have been amended in the 2024 Act. But again, okay, the problem in that is the people who will be doing the assessment are coming from the central government only. Okay, but again, there has to be some coordination there. Okay, some people should be from the state government, some people should be from the central government. But again, you tell me, who should be the first responder, or okay, to whom the authority of disaster management should be given? Should it be given to the central government, or should it be given to the state government? To whom? Think and comment there. So army has provided bed here. Okay, medical teams have come with the mobile operation theaters. Heavy engineering equipment, generators, etc. have been mobilized. Even WHO mobilized 1.2 million in emergency fund. So this is what happens. Center and state, same government. So that's why it becomes very easy to mobilize even the WHO funds over here. Okay. CARE provided immediate relief to 10,000 families. Okay. Now let's see, okay, how the rehabilitation model has happened. So a model called as, you can write this as a case study, okay, among the good models or good case studies. So this is Patanka Navajivan Yojana. So this is about rehabilitation. So it is 3-phase approach, okay, where principles were drawn, project implementation is there, and they also saw that there is a sustainability. So there's a holistic focus here, okay. So not just, okay, giving the relief, okay, say right after the disaster, the people will given, okay, this food, shelter, not only that. So there has to be livelihood improvement also. Say one person has lost, okay, so chai ka tapri, okay, in a disaster. So the government has to see that the livelihood is restored after a disaster, okay. And after the, okay, livelihood restorement, community resilience also has to be built. Means if a disaster is coming next time, say a person has lost his chai ki tapri and they have built, okay, one chai ki tapri, but will that structure sustain the next disaster? That is about resilience. Okay, does this person know what to do when the next disaster comes? Right? It's not just about the structure, but will that person, okay, have awareness what to do at the time of a disaster? Say everything is fine, even after that, okay, some damage will be there. So after that, does the person have some savings to sustain after the disaster? So this comes as a part of resilience, and there are a lot of questions which come under resilience part. Okay, we'll discuss them later. The community participation has to increase. Okay. Now, what is the role of community participation here? So these things only which I am telling you. Like, whenever a disaster strikes, the citizens are the first responders. So earthquake has come, okay, in the building which you are sitting right now. So immediately the NDRF will not come and rescue you, right? Right? So you have to know, okay, which part of the building is safe, how you have to go out. You should know where, okay, children are in your locality, where the old people are, where the pregnant women are, where the ill people are. Okay, you should coordinate with each other. You should help each other. That's why community participation plays a very, very important role. So it can reduce the mortalities, a lot of mortalities. So for this, if enough mock drills are done, then it will help a lot. So that's why the community participation is very important. And cultural sensitivity. See, I'll tell you an example. See, in Sikkim this has happened. In Sikkim the earthquake has come. The tribal people in that area, okay, have lost their houses. So after that, the government has constructed a lot of buildings there and asked the tribal people to stay in that. But again, those houses are not culturally aligned with them. They're not used to staying in such kind of cramped structures. The tribals, okay, live under the trees in mud houses. They want a free living. And if you are roaming from that free atmosphere and if you are asking them to, okay, stay in a 1 BHK cramped house which does not have enough ventilation, and because of psychological stress, okay, and not enough ventilation, those people have died. That's why culturally complaint means what is acceptable to the people in terms of rescue, rehabilitation or anything. So that also has to be taken care. And in that, community participation is very important. So while framing the policies with respect to disaster management, so people have to be involved. Okay, the people have to be asked by, okay, how you want to be rescued. Okay, so culturally sensitive means in some areas, okay, for example in Kashmir only floods, okay, especially where there is a lot of patriarchy, even in Rajasthan. If an earthquake, flood or something comes, if the rescue personnel will go and, okay, touch a woman or, lift a woman or something, they will feel that it's culturally very inappropriate. They'll feel that, I might have died, but, someone coming and touching me, something like that. So cultural sensitivity also becomes very important here. So that's why the people participation is important. How they want to be rescued, okay, what kind of structures they want, okay, which kind of boats run in that area, like that, Now, Caritas India's role here, this is a Christian organization, Roman Catholic. So they also played a very important role because they have been, okay, they have these branches all over the world. So they already do a lot of social work in this area. That's why, okay, even those things were mobilized during this time. Now, what are the gaps which have been identified? So building codes. So building codes means how much of rod should be used in the building. Okay. What should be the width, okay, of the pillar? What should be the width of the beam? How many pillars and beams you should be having? What should be the width of the staircase? Okay. And how much free area you should have apart from the building? What should be the distances between the buildings? How many stories of building you can build? What kind of soil you have below? If you are having a weak structure, you cannot go beyond, okay, ground plus 1. If you are having a strong structure, you can go. And in most of the places, people have permission floor, ground floor plus first floor, that's it. But in many places, the building code is not followed at all. They keep on building 3 to 4 floors, they keep on building. And over that also, they will have penthouse, which is not seen from the front side. Right? So these are called as the building codes. And please keep on writing what exactly is the building code, because you may read any kind of literature, they will not be explaining you what exactly is a building code. They might, if you open what is a building code, that they will be giving you, okay, along this thing, but from there you will not understand. I am telling you in a very layman's language. I hope you have understood this. So your people have answered, okay, who should be responsible? Who should be the first responder for disaster management? You have mentioned state government. It should not be state government. Rather, it should be given to the local government. Because the local government is the first responder. Say some earthquake is happening somewhere in East Godavari. Okay, I don't know where your capital is. Okay, Bengal ne. For example, Siliguri, Jalpaiguri mein kahin earthquake aaya. Huh? So सीधा कलकत्ता से आपका फोर्सेस आ जाएंगे क्या? नहीं. The local administration has to be empowered. Local people, okay, your fire department, your police station, they should be equipped enough. They should be having enough resources. They should be trained enough. Okay, that's why local government at a very local level, they should be the first responders for them. Okay, panchayats, very good. Not only panchayats but also urban local bodies. So let's see what are the various gaps identified here. Obviously, remote villages, communication breakdown will happen, roadblocks will be there. Coordination challenges, I explained you. See, initially I've explained a lot, later on it will become very easy. If you are having any doubt, you can ask. Lack of disaster resilient infrastructure. Public awareness gaps, they're not even aware, okay? Even now, most of the people are not aware. Now, tell me, okay, the two people in the class over here, you tell me, how many of you, okay, know how to operate a fire extinguisher? Tell me. Do you know? Huh? No. Okay, see, fire extinguisher is a basic, very much, is a starter pack for disaster management. Okay, we don't even know that. Now, how can you expect that? Fire is a very small thing. Earthquake, flooding, tsunami. Okay, then when it comes, what you should be doing? How will you know? Don't you think these things should have been taught you in the school level? Right? Okay. Or okay, you guys have been to colleges. At least in the college, mock drill should have been done. Which part of West Bengal you are from? Renu? North 24, Northern. Parganas. अच्छा. फ्लड आता है, ओके, टाइड आती है, तो पता है आपको क्या करना है? कभी मॉक ड्रिल किया है आपके स्कूल में? आपका तो हाईली फ्लड प्रोन एरिया है ना आपका. फ्लड प्रोन नहीं है? अच्छा, साउथ परगनास फ्लड प्रोन है. आपके यहाँ कभी नहीं आता है? कभी हुबली उबर के आपके घर में नहीं आया पानी ना? अच्छा, you must be staying in a high levels, high altitude. Okay. Now let's see the Kashmir earthquake, 2005. So this is the epicenter here. So this is not a proper earthquake in India because epicenter is not here. Okay, it's in the, okay, I don't know I should be saying it or not. It is, okay, this part of the Kashmir, okay? Because nowadays, sentiments are more important than facts. जैसे कुछ बोलूँगा तो विवाद हो जाएगा. Okay, that's why I shown you in the map. So magnitude, okay, it is 7.6 again, okay, the Himalayan region. Okay, the Kashmir Valley is highly prone because it is geologically a lake. It is located between the Middle Himalayas and the Great Himalayas. It's also part of MCT, Main Central Trust. Faulting zone है, fault में located है. Obviously, the earthquakes will come there. And the Indian part of the Kashmir is also highly affected. And look at the buildings, evolution of the buildings. So in that area, in that zone, if you are going for the multi-story buildings, okay, where you know that you are in zone 5, do you think they will withstand? And Kashmir is geologically a lake. And you are residing inside the lake and you are complaining that the flood has come. You are in zone 5, you are constructing a multi-story building and you say that my building has collapsed. So if at all you are building a building over there, okay, it should sustain an earthquake of magnitude 10. It should be building such kind of structure. But again, who builds such kind of structure? Because it will cost a lot of money. So nobody builds. The building code is not followed. So that's why all the vikas, whatever you have built, all the development, whatever you have done, suddenly collapses. That's why you should never go against the nature. Later on, we'll discuss about, the kind of development which is happening in the hilly region. We're building our 4-lane highways till up to the Great Himalayas. 4-lane. Now recently what has happened? One shake, one landslide, entire road is gone. You must have spent thousands of crores over there, lakhs of crores. What has happened? Finally it has collapsed, right? That's why it should never go against the nature. We should align with the nature. So that is a major learning which has to be done. But again, the people have very wrong sense of this development. So for them, the development is all about buildings, concrete structures, eating out in Pizza Huts, McDonald's, like that, that is the idea of development or, becoming rich. When you become rich, you go out, eat and, spoil your health. So that is what, Vikas is for them. So this idea has to change. There is a very big book which has been written by Madhav Gadgil and Ramachandra Guha. It had been written way back in 1995. Ecology versus Environment. It's a very good book. If you can read that book, that would be great. So death toll and casualties in India. You can see the numbers over here. So you see the total death toll, India and Pakistan, Afghanistan. You can see 7.6 on the Richter scale, hilly region, and over a period of time, the population has also increased. The silent features, so whenever the earthquake occurs, the landslides will also be triggered. Even in this, earthquake, the military casualties also happen. Because, see, look at the irony here. So these are the people who come to our rescue, whenever a disaster strikes. Even their structures are not earthquake resilient. Even they have died because of disaster. The people who are supposed to come and help you and rescue you, they themselves are affected. It's like, doctor hi bimar pad gaya. So it's like that. And tremors have felt across India or North India also, because when a big rock is moving, when the Himalayas are moving, the soil beside that will also move, shake. That's why tremors are felt. And there's a cross-border impact. See, the entire, the Himalayas, you have this, Myanmar on one side, China on the other side, Bhutan, Nepal, your Pakistan, and virtually we have Afghanistan border also. So these are all your neighboring countries, and Himalayas are highly prone to the earthquakes or disasters. Cloudburst can also happen here. Landslides can also be triggered. So don't you think we should be having cross-country coordination here? That is rarely present. So when you don't have such kind of coordination, the death toll will increase, and also it will become very difficult to do any resilient work also. The government response. Indian Army has spearheaded operations, aerial operations, food supplies and all. Civil administration coordination with the army, because it is Kashmir. Army is also present in the public sphere, unfortunately. That's why there was a coordination. And international response were also there. IRC has provided food, medical care, etc. Medical rehabilitation, because in Kashmir you have a lot of presence of this military personnel. That's why the military hospital help was also taken. So India also offered Pakistan. But again, because of the geopolitical tensions, this was very limited. Now again, whenever you have an earthquake in the hilly region or undulating topography, so this will be problems. Mountainous region, communication network will not be there. Reaching will become very difficult. Rescue operations will be limited. And weather is also harsh in cold climate, etc. Again, cross-border coordinations. The fear of the rumors, especially in a society like Kashmir, again, rumors spread very easily, and they will create a lot of havoc over there. So they were afraid that aftermath will be there, means aftershocks which are there. So they thought that aftershocks aayenge, the people Hadbadi mein, they went here and there. So the earthquakes might have might not have moved the buildings, but because of the chaos which is created by the people, now that has caused more damage. Now, resource constraints are also there because remote border areas. Next is Sikkim earthquake, 2011. Again, this also happened at the border. Okay, this is Siliguri, this is Koch Bihar. Okay, so this is the region where the epicenter is. So again, it is 6.8, 6.9. So 64 kilometers northwest of Gangtok, Sikkim. Again, the death toll here is comparatively less because it is less populated, densely populated. And the total deaths were around like 86, 92. And even in Gangtok, it has developed a lot of cracks. So this information is not that important. Of course, the tremors will be felt across. Just now I explained the information. And whenever the earthquake strikes, okay, the landslides will also be there because even in Great Himalayas or Middle Himalayas, if you look at a structure, the Great Himalayas has this orthoclinal structure like this. And the Middle Himalayas have overturned structures. So these structures are highly unstable. So therefore, landslides, after the earthquake, the landslides will also occur. And landslides will cut off the areas which are very much prone to the earthquake, and obviously will be having aftershocks also. And bad weather and poor visibility will make it even worse. Now what is the government response? Same. See, you'll see a pattern over here. Obviously, army will be deployed. Paramilitary will be deployed. Okay, now this has happened recently. That's why NDRF, now the role of NDRF will come. So NDRF is specifically meant for disaster management. So relief camps will be built, compensation, sometimes the compensation will also be provided. Okay, so remember few standard ones. You don't have to mug up the entire thing. Now gaps and challenges. What are the various gaps here? So weather, heavy rains and poor visibility. So after the earthquake, if the rain comes, your structure will become even more weak. And because of the landslides, okay, and rains, road blockages will be there. Okay, and whenever the earthquake comes, the communication infrastructure, the towers and all, okay, all will be damaged. That's why during this time, whenever the communication breaks, you can come up with an innovation like, WiMAX can be built. WiMAX can be installed instantaneously. Or in the near future, Starlink kind of a thing is coming. Means directly through satellites, the communication network can be built. I hope these problems will be solved very soon. Okay. And limited helicopter landing because helipad etc. cannot be made. That's why it will become very difficult to do the rescue operations. So for hilly regions, okay, remember few things which are very standard. Okay, so these are very standard everywhere. Okay, so make a set of things. If an earthquake comes, okay, in the hilly region or the Himalayas, so what will be the effects? You make a summary. Now from these examples, you draw a summary and then remember 3-4 basic things. Okay, you don't have to mug up everything. It's humanly impossible as well. Next is Nepal earthquake. Look again here. This is again in the MCT region, main central thrust region. So this happened in the year of 2015. Now magnitude is again 7.8, 7.9. Now what is this and what is this? You guys are on geography, right? Tell me. What is this 7.8, 7.9 and 8.1? Tell me. Any guess? Why these are different? No idea? What is this scale? One is a Richter scale. Okay. What is MS? MS is moment magnitude scale. So we can say that this moment magnitude scale is an advanced version of the Richter scale. The Richter scale will not be working very well after 8 on this scale. So after 8 you will be using moment magnitude scale. Note it down. I'm Sandeepu. Rasunava? Rasko? Okay, deaths are this, injured people are this. Okay, you don't have to remember all this. Of course, okay, here, okay, the Bihar is also affected because a little bit of tremors will be felt elsewhere also. And aftershocks have also caused a lot of deaths. Of course, in Nepal, a lot of people have died. So here, now tell me, okay, you have come across all the earthquakes. Which, okay, say if in exam they're asking you the case studies, which 2 or 3 case studies you will be writing in the exam? Which one you will write? Lathur you should be writing because it is what was not expected. And death toll is also very high. Okay, though it is old, but it should be. Now, since we have discussed, all the case studies, so this part will become very easy. So what should be the disaster resilience framework? So this is part of the disaster management cycle. So what is the disaster management cycle is? So there are, see, this is during the disaster, what you should be doing during. You'll have post. And you'll have certain things which you have to do pre-disaster. Pre-disaster. So in the post-disaster, okay, you'll be doing rescue, relief, operation. These kind of things you'll be doing here. Okay. And also a little bit of rehabilitation, resettlement. We'll do here. But whatever you do here pre-disaster, they play a very important role. And every $1 which you're spending here in pre-disaster will save $5 to $10 during and after a disaster. So here, what kind of mitigation you are doing? Mitigation. What kind of resilient structures you are building? For example, say you are spending some few extra money and you are going for a earthquake resilient structure. Say you are using, okay, the 15 mm or 10 mm rods instead of going for 3 mm or, okay, 6 mm rods. So you are properly, okay, building the beams, pillars, and you have a proper concrete structure over there. You are using good quality materials. So you are spending money on drills, community level awareness. Of course, it will be costing money. If your building is earthquake resilient, okay, leave a magnitude of 7, 8. Okay, even if the 10 comes, your building will stand. You'll be safe inside, watching TV inside your room. So, whatever you do here plays a very important role. So, this is called the resilience, how strong you are here. So, that will decide how resilient you are during and after a disaster. But in our country, we completely ignore this. We don't care. In fact, at many places, you don't have mitigation funds also. The building code, okay, what implementation is very poor. And what we do? We do here some rescue and relief. Now, whenever, okay, earthquake strikes or floods come, your netas will be going in the helicopter doing aerial survey. Bhai, drone ka zamana aa gaya, drones are there. You can see through drones, right? What is the need for you to go in a helicopter, aeroplane, and two people will be shooting you and showing you down? What is the need of all that? How much money you are spending on that? Right? You can do area. The state of the art technology has come. So you have these satellites. You have your drones. If you want to see, you can see through that. And they will come and give some pulihora packets. Okay, some biryani they will give. Okay, some water they will provide. Some makeshift medical facilities will be provided. That's it. After that, gone. Nobody cares what happens after that. Right? Recently, when the earthquake has come, they're not earthquake, you're tufan, okay. In Andhra Pradesh, okay, some people have died, but again, the speed is not even, okay, how much? 85 km per hour. At max, it has gone to 100 km per hour. Okay, that is for less than 3 minutes, 100 km per hour speed. In that also, those many people have died. And okay, nowadays, not much has to be done. Okay, if you do the media management, that is fine. Okay, the people will believe in that. Okay, so what we have to do is this area you have to focus. Pre-disaster. That is called as resilience. That is why you see a lot of questions. Previous year questions I have discussed. Did you see a lot of questions on resilience? This part they are focused. Did they focus on this part? Questions. Have you seen the questions? Previous year questions. I discussed them yesterday, day before. You see no questions from here. You see a lot of questions from this part because this is more important. So that's why I'm discussing this. Anyways, a lot of things have been discussed. This will be very easy for you. So adaptive capacity building here. Now what all should be done here? Risk reduction education, training programs, preparedness, safety measures, infrastructure investment, resilience construction. Retrofitting means if you have an old building, say that the old building has been dilapidated, that old building can be reinforced. Say your old building does not have concrete structure. It does not have pillars and beams. So from outside the pillars and beams can be constructed. Or your old building does not have beams below. Means building hai, but it has been constructed just on the basement, just rocks hai, niche. You can put a beam over there. This is called as retrofitting. And this retrofitting will cost money. Now who will be paying the money? The government has to pay for building the resilient structures to do retrofitting. So for example, okay, I have a building, it is very old. I want to do retrofitting, but I don't have enough money. So if I go to the collector office or the government office and put a file that, okay, this is in zone 5, I want to do retrofitting, or the flood prone area, I want to lift the building a little bit. Okay, I have this much money, please contribute this much money. The government should be doing. And for that, the government should be having mitigation funds. And these funds should be at the national level, state level, even at the district level they should be having. But again, okay, strengthening critical facilities. See, whenever a disaster strikes, the people will be running to the hospitals. Okay, or they'll be taking shelter in the school buildings. Now you must have seen the condition of a hospital, government hospital. Do they have the state-of-the-art infrastructure building? Recently, I've seen some video somewhere. In the ICU, okay, ICU ward, there is a lot of what do you call? Mosses, lichens, okay. Okay, water is leaking inside the ICU. In fact, we'll see in other case studies that when the disaster has come, the first building to collapse is the government structure itself. Okay, because whenever, okay, you want to build a government building, obviously you'll be giving it to a contractor. You'll be giving to your favorite contractor. Obviously, that contractor has to earn money. Okay, so that's why they'll go with the most substandard material. So that's why the critical infrastructure facilities which are there, okay, that has to be intact. Next, so community-specific evacuation plans. How the people have to be handled. How the evacuation has to take place. Okay, what kind of gullies they have, what is the width of them, whether a van can move in that or not, whether a truck can move, whether a boat can go inside when the floods come, etc. So they have to be community specific. You cannot have a standard operation procedure for the entire country. Okay. Next, resource identification, mapping existing community resources. So, in a community, how many doctors are there? Can they be mobilized? What kind of equipment they have? Okay, in a community or in an area, which building is the safest? If all the buildings collapse, where else they can go and hide or take a rest, like that. So let's see some of the best practices here. Okay, in fact, in Japan, it is integrated. Earthquake preparedness is integrated in everyday part of the culture. Means regular drills are being done. Okay, people know where exactly the exits are. So they have earthquake warning systems. 30 seconds alerts are there. They'll be constantly having these alerts because Japan is highly prone to the earthquakes. Even if you're feeling a tremor of 1 on Richter scale, 2 on Richter scale, the people will be getting messages. So that aware the society is. Okay. Next, Japan has a shock absorbing buildings. Means it's kind of, building is there. Below the building you have balloon kind of a thing. Or below the building you have bearings. So the earthquake, if it tries to move the building like that, crust is moving like this, the building will move like this. Means the building will be able to bear the shocks. Such kind of, buildings they have been. So we can, that's why the Japan has such kind of state-of-the-art technology. That's why, all the frameworks with respect to earthquake happen in Japan. These are also called a damping structure or such kind of technical words you have to remember. And they have the national targets also. Japan aimed for 95% earthquake resistant homes, and public buildings by 2020. Okay, so they have such kind of national targets with respect to earthquakes. Next, community-based disaster management. What are the core principles here? Collaboration. So all have to collaborate with each other. So active community participation is there, should be there. Empowerment of social organization. Integration of local knowledge and tradition. So other things I've discussed, I'll explain this. Integration of local knowledge and traditional coping mechanisms. See, initially, in the Kashmir, the houses which were built, these houses were built up of wood. And they used to go for just G+1. Means ground, they will also have a basement. Basement is compulsory. And the houses are always built on the first floor. From the first floor, the house will start. And they'll be having a wood below. And below that, it will be all vacant. It will be used for storing. So Kashmir is geologically a lake. So that's why they know that the flood can come at any time. That's why they'll be leaving the so-called ground floor empty. But nowadays, will they do that? So because of excessive commercialization, they will think that, why to leave that empty? वहाँ पे 2 कमरे लगा देंगे, rent आता रहेगा, like that they will think. So that is a traditional knowledge. And the roof which the buildings in the Kashmir earlier used to have, it is not a single slab. They used to take the rock, it's called as fillet rock. It's a metamorphosed form of clay. So since it is available in the Himalayas locally, that kind of rock was used, but not a big rock. Small rocks were used, small. And that is light. It's like a slate, palaka, that's slate. So it's like that is a light rock and it is, aligned, side by side. So since it is a light rock, even if the collapse happens, nothing will happen. So if a big concrete structure is falling on you and a slate kind of a rock is falling on you, so which will have more impact? So that is the traditional knowledge. So now, what these babus, or the modern engineers think, they think that, we know everything, we have studied CAD and all, we'll design a building and we'll go and build there. But before building, first, ask what kind of structures they had, why they had to build the buildings in such a format, why their design is like that, because they must have learned this design from a very long time, because after they have faced floods many times, after they have faced earthquakes many times, so incremental improvements have been made and later on they have developed such kind of structure. Understood? So that's why traditional coping mechanisms are also implemented. Now, implementation strategy. So, trained local disaster response teams. So if you go to any gully, any area, you'll be having the young people over there who will be ready to help. So at the national level, you should be having a register of such kind of volunteers. Okay, and whenever a disaster strikes, okay, they should be given a tag, some recognition. They will go and help. Even before the NDRF or any team comes, they will do most of the rescue and relief operations. They need a recognition and training. That is very important. And community engagement should be there. Okay, education and all. Okay, so community specific disaster recovery plans. This I have discussed. Okay. Community drills, etc. So after this, most of the things will be repeating. Anything which is new, I will discuss. If anything you have a doubt, you can ask. So India's CBDM, community-based disaster management initiatives. So India has collaborated with UNDP. Okay, so it has covered 176 multi-hazard prone districts across 14 states. Okay, it has established village ward-based preparedness, etc. You can go through it. Again, you can give these two as examples. Chetana initiative. Okay, this will be discussing later. What is this exactly? And structural and non-structural mitigation. See, the differentiation between these two is very important. See, structural. Okay, I'll tell you example. For example, if tsunami is going to come, you're building a tsunami wall. That is a structural measure. But say if you don't have money for the tsunami wall, but you have a buffer zone, in this buffer zone you have all the mangrove plantation. So that will become a non-structural measure. So anything which is engineered, anything which is cement, concrete or man-made, that is structural. Okay, anything which is natural, psychological, okay, that is non-structural. Even the mock drills come as a part of non-structural. Okay, there is a difference between these two. Now tell me, okay, on which thing we should be focusing, structural or non-structural? If you want to reduce, who said structural? Sandeep. Structural, how much money it will take? For example, if tsunami is coming, you have built a tsunami wall. Earlier, only water is coming and hitting you. Now, the water plus that concrete structure will come and hit your head. Huh? And for constructing that, how much money it will take? Who will do the repair of that? Maintenance, who will do? Will it last 100 years? Lot of money is involved here. Simply go and plant a tree, mangroves. Leave a buffer zone. For trees, any maintenance is required? No. They will give you oxygen also. They will, trap all the pollutants as well. Right? That is non-structural. It is long term. So anything which is eco-friendly also becomes non-structural. So we have to move from the structural measures to non-structural measures. That should be the very long term. But again, people also think what, so you have a mangrove, you have a tsunami wall. So psychologically, the people have been trained that, tsunami wall will protect them. But जब तक उनको पता नहीं चलेगा तब तक पत्थर आके भी मारेगा उनके सर के ऊपर. पानी भी नहीं, पत्थर भी आके मारेगा. Okay? Understanding? Sometimes in between I am using Hindi words because in Hindi the expression is good which you can't get in. Okay. Now let's see what are the various structural measures here. So earthquake resilient construction. Okay, we're following the seismic codes and all. See, earthquake resilient construction is fine, but what can be the non-structural measures here? See, for example, you want to go for a 10-story building in a zone 5. Bhai, what is the need of that? What is the need? Go for wooden structures. Spread it over a large area. This is non-structural, right? It will help you, maintenance also very less. Now, everybody knows that Switzerland is known for tourism, right? Now, what is the idea of developing tourism in India? We think that, you will have, if you have 5-star hotel, 10-story glass buildings, and you have a state-of-the-art, airport, okay? Then only Okay, a lot of tourists will come. We'll think in that. We put all the money in building an airport. But we ignore toilets in the areas where tourist spots are there. Safety we ignore. Those are non-structural measures. Had you taken care of the safety, you have taken care of proper facility. Oh, okay, no cheating. Okay, no cartels. Like, if you go to Goa, you have this taxi cartels. Okay, like for going for 1 kilometer also, they'll be asking you 3,000, 4,000 rupees. Bechara kya karega? That's why people are moving to Thailand. So these are non-structural measures. So if you improve the non-structural measures, it will improve. I am talking about Switzerland. Now if you look at Switzerland, if you look at their airports, their airport will not even look like airport. Okay, it's a very small structure, not very big. And where the people go, I'll show you. For example, you see this, Switzerland. You see the images here. You see. Do they have any big structures over there? Small houses. This is where people go and live. They spend a lot of money. See. If people are going to the Himalayas, obviously they don't want to go in the same, Hyatt or, there's a big hotel, same rooms everywhere. They want to feel the area. They want to feel the culture over there. Do you see any very large buildings over there? No, right? Any photo you take. How scenic it is. Understood? This is non-structural. That's why Switzerland, even till today, it tops in terms of tourism. So we need to change our attitude. Next, retrofitting programs. Yeah, I've explained you. Next is land use planning. Land use planning means, say for example, you have a hard rock over here. So this is a hard rock. Say this is, you have debris. You have small rocks, big rocks, etc. Say this is igneous rock and this is sedimentary rock. So here you can have a big structure be built. Here you should not be allowing big structures. In fact, don't allow any structure over here. Or else you have a high-lying area and low-lying area. In low-lying area, obviously the floods will happen. So don't allow any kind of planning here. Do not allow any construction over here because it will be ultimately flooded. Whatever you want to allow here only. This is called as land use planning. Okay. Now, with respect to earthquakes, you should avoid construction along the fault lines. Bhai, you know that this is a fault line. It will be highly prone to the earthquake, but you still allow the construction over there. And liquefaction, I just explained, liquefaction prone areas. So this area, when the earthquake comes, the water will seep inside, okay, all the pores will be filled and this solid rock will become liquid. It will start flowing. This process is called as liquefaction. This liquefaction has been asked this year in geography optional mains. Okay? Steep slopes. Okay, this is called as land use planning. Okay, so such kind of keywords you should be writing in the exam. Okay, this has been explained here. I'll be sending it to you. You can go through it. The critical infrastructure protection is very important. Hospitals, schools, emergency facilities, etc. That should be of higher standards. Okay. So non-structural measures, okay, like securing furniture, equipments, utilities. Now, for example, you have heavy furniture. Heavy furniture should be tied somewhere. Okay, it should not be hanging here and there. Okay, it should not be putting heavy objects on the table. Say, okay, you're sleeping in the bed, beside your bed you have a table, on that you have put a heavy flower vase. Even with little bit of shaking happens, the flower vase will fall on you. Okay? Thus installing automatic gas shut-off valves, because after an earthquake, okay, the fire also becomes very prominent. Okay? Next, maintaining emergency supplies. At the time of COVID, we have maintained some emergency supplies with us. We are not allowed to go out for a few days, so we are stocking all the ration at home. So they should be also doing this. In fact, in America, these things are very common. They always have a stock. Okay, they have their own boats in the states like Texas and Louisiana, because the government has told them that, hey, if any disaster comes, if any cyclone comes, for the first 7 days you will be on your own. This has been told to them. That's why they are very well prepared. They have not community level, they have individual level preparedness are there. Small repairs, okay, etc. also they can do. They can build a boat also at the time of a disaster. Okay. So, rest of the things we'll discuss tomorrow. I'll be stopping the class here. Okay. See you tomorrow. Huh? If you have any doubts, okay, you can ask me. Okay, I'll be sending you this. Okay, go through it. So the same day itself, you should be studying whatever has been done in the class. So that will help you revise in a better way. Okay. Thank you. Bye.